Believe that. First off, roll tide full of pride. You hear me? Can't forget that all day, every day, no matter what. Right, dog, win, lose, or draw. Correct, correct. Heavy. But in this video, I'm gonna get into the whole Georgia Bama game. You know, it's a lot of talk. It's been a lot of talk, right? Oh, if Bama loses to Georgia, should they still make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera? And of course, they should be in regardless of the outcome of the Georgia game. Heavy, no way around it. But sometimes people may believe it or understand it more, right? You know, or think it's true, maybe coming from certain analysts or sports casters, etc., etc. But Paul Finebaum, shout out Paul Finebaum for keeping it real about the Alabama situation. You know, kicking real facts, just simple facts that make sense, make total sense. You hear me? Now, you know it's the haters out there, the Alabama haters who don't want to see Bama in the game, in the playoffs, want to leave them out, don't want to respect them, etc. Trying to come up with every excuse. If they lose to Georgia, then yeah, boom, Alabama shouldn't be in. But we all know that it's cap. That makes no sense whatsoever. Bottom line. But at the end of the day, Bama has a lot to prove, a lot to earn if they beat Georgia. You talking about a first round bye, you can get more rest your body up correct, heavy. You hear me? So a win would be very beneficial to the Alabama Crimson Tide. But at the end of the day, it's the committee's job to get it right and be real at all times, 100%. But I'm glad, you know, big names, big faces like Paul Finebaum is speaking out or speaking out on the benefit of Bama. Keeping it real deal, no Holyfield, but shout out respect to Holyfield. He is a boxing legend, right? Right. Heavy. You hear me? But at the end of the day, we all know what's up. So I'm going to get into that video. Then I'm going to talk about LT Overton potentially being out for the Bama game. I know it was a lot of confusion, right? A lot of misunderstanding. Everybody wondering, hey, is LT Overton playing? If not, why ain't Kellen DeBoer giving a real reason why? Is he in trouble? What is the reason? What is the injury? So we're going to dive into that and get into it. So let's just start off with the Paul Finebaum video. Once again, respect to Paul Finebaum. don't want to mess the name man up, right? Name up, right? You hear me? But let's get into it. You see, I skipped ahead, man. The first segment they was talking about Notre Dame in Miami. I ain't caring about all that. You hear me? This roll tide over here, round yonder this way. You hear me? You feel me? Yeah. Let's get into it, baby. Yeah, 1 second.
But I'm not going to call them a lock. And the reason why is because I'm at
a little bad.
Alabama has margin for error.
Here she go. You know she always been the type, right? to try to shake up the boat, correct, huh? You hear me? Try to leave Bama out of there. Try to say this, try to say that to make it make sense. Even last year, she was kind of rooting against Bama seemingly, huh? Yeah.
But I'm not going to call them a lock. And the reason why is because I'm at the Gaylord Hotel where they have these meetings. And I remind everyone, it is the only time that they've watched these games together as a group. And if for some reason Georgia is beating Alabama like it beat Texas, when the committee dropped them to 17 after they beat them 35-10, how the game unfolds matters. That's why I'm not calling them a lock, because they watch it.
So what? I don't. She keep talking about because they watch it together, watch it all in one room. So what? Who cares if two people disagree? You hear me? Heavy. The bottom line is Alabama deserves to be in, right? They already beat Georgia one time at their home in Athens, Georgia. Everybody forgets that. So it doesn't matter if they lose. And I'm not saying they will, but if they do, so what? They should be a lock for the college football playoff, period. We're talking about strength of schedule, record in the SEC, the fact that they've already beaten Georgia, and who you going to put in front of them, right? Who, you hear me? Correct. Who? Notre Dame. It's a reason why they put Alabama ahead of Notre Dame this time around, right, dog? Heavy no cap. You hear me? So no, even if Bama loses, no matter how they lose, they should still be a lock for the college football playoff period. You know? Come on, man.
They stand up, they go to the next room, and then they vote on it. If it's a close game, I think Alabama's safe. And I think that that was an indicator at number 9. But again, how it happens matters.
Because, Paul, the alternative, here's where the next argument comes in. You're much better off at this point being Ole Miss or Oklahoma and not have.
How are you? They didn't have to do nothing. They didn't have to play for anything. They didn't do shit. They didn't even make it to the game. You know? How will you as a team, as a college football program, right, be penalized, you hear me, for losing an SEC championship game when you earned your way there and you already beat the team previously early in the season? How the hell would Bama be penalized for losing an SEC championship game? He's talking about Oklahoma, boom, Ole Miss, boom. So what? Stop the cap. They didn't make it to the game. Bama made it there, huh? You hear me? Heavy. That's the difference, right? Bama made it there to the game. Period.
Qualified for the SEC championship game and thus not have to play this weekend and be completely safe. If they knock a team out for looking bad in a conference championship game that would otherwise have been in, that's an even worse precedent that they are setting. And you might be living in a world now where teams refuse invitations to the conference championship game.
And which they should, you know, period. That would be a true atrocity. Teams should. Why even play the championship game if you're going to be penalized? You should be rewarded for making it to the game. That's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of the season. You hear me? Period. Yeah. You make it to your conference championship game, you're one of the best 12 teams in the country, in the nation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If we're talking facts and honesty, you know, heavy.
What do you think of it, Paul Finebaum?
Oh, man.
That would be the end of conference championship games as we know it. They're billion-dollar adventures, but it is so absurd to hear what Heather just said. As rational as she is and as smart as she is, I'm just about to jump out of my chair and scream the fact that these.
You see what I mean? Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, Paul, for being real. Period. Appreciate you for being real. Period. And one thing about Paul, he gonna speak how he really feels about Bama. Bottom line, you hear me? He gonna say if he think they bad. He gonna say if he think they good, if they should make the playoff, not make the playoff. So you can respect and salute him for that. Bottom line, and right now he's keeping it real heavy, no cap.
Committee members, they all sit there and they have their caviar and their Don Perignon together. Then they go into the next room and make what could be the dumbest decision in the history of sports to deny a team who beat the team that just beat them on their home field in the regular season. And now they're playing what's tantamount to an exhibition game because nobody else, other schools in their league are not playing because they did not qualify. So this committee is going to look Kalen DeBoer in Alabama in the eye and say, sorry, we didn't like the way you performed in the fourth.
Come on, man. Bottom line. Kick the real shit, Paul. Kick the real shit, Paul. You hear me? Heavy.
Fourth quarter, when the game was 3 touchdowns down and you were a little bit sluggish and you didn't get your running game going. Greeny, that should end college football right there if that happens.
I mean, the ball's going far. I don't know that I would end the sport entirely, but the conference championship games, I think, would be in serious jeopardy because we should not be in a place. Heather, I mean, the argument, we've heard it many times. We should never be in a place where qualifying for the conference championship game can be a negative. Like that,
Facts. Big facts.
You cannot live in a world where it can hurt you to play in that game, because if you do, then you are incentivizing teams to literally turn down an invitation. I don't know how that process would work, but it can't be a bad thing to get into that game.
Well, the reality is all losers are not created equal. Let's keep this in mind. If you lose the ACC championship game this year, you're not going to be in the college football playoff. So the SEC right now, what we're talking about, you're absolutely right. This all makes sense. They went to Georgia. They beat Georgia.
She said the ACC. How horrible, how soft of a league conference is the ACC, baby. Huh? You hear me? Like, let's not compare Alabama versus Georgia to Virginia versus Duke. Let's not do that, huh, Heather? Let's be real, shorty. Let's be real with your little fine ass, huh? Mwah. You hear me, huh? Yeah. But let's not compare Virginia versus Duke to Georgia versus Alabama, etc. There's no comparison. It doesn't compare. Two different levels. Two different levels, bottom line. And Alabama already beat Georgia in Georgia.
They already did the thing. And you know what? If they lose the game, they can claim a regular season win against the SEC champs. And we've seen that matter in the committee room before. But you know what else I saw? Last year, when SMU was playing Clemson, I guarantee you SMU was out of the playoff in the first half. The way they played in the second half with everyone watching got them into the college football playoff. So again, with the human element, the emotions, everyone's watching it. You see what's happening, then they vote. I'm just saying that they wouldn't be a lock, but they can absolutely exhale. This is good news for Alabama.
Okay, so then there's the third topic here, and that is the other open spots, right?
Which you don't care about, bro. Heavy. Roll tide full of pride, no matter what. Yeah. And that's the video right there. So, you know, you see Paul Finebaum keeps it real. Heather trying to throw a little wrench in there. But even she know at the end, she knows Bama should be safe. Their spot should be solidified for the college football playoff, period. And like Paul Finebaum said, man, that would be absolute blasphemy and true atrocity, right? If Bama didn't make the playoffs, period. You know, heavy. You hear me? Ain't no way you kick Bama out. And I'm sure that's why they put them at number 9. But at the end of the day, you know, Bama wants to go in there and win. You talking about you get a victory, you get a first round bye, you get a home game, etc. Well, I don't know if you get a home game, but you get a higher seed and you get a first round bye. You know, what more could you ask for after this tough, strenuous season? You hear me? Boys get extra time to rest up, get extra time to heal, etc., etc., and get ready to play good Bama football and elevate their games. Huh? No cap. You hear me? Yeah. Uh-huh. Next up, dog, LT Overton. You know, LT Overton. Now, is this a big cause for concern? They're saying LT Overton will be out versus Georgia. No, he would definitely be missed. He is a great player, phenomenal player at that. You know, one of the top defensive players on the Bama squad. So, yes, you will miss him. You want him on the field. You don't want him hurt, right? You don't want him injured, etc. But I feel pretty good about Bama's depth. Young guys, you know, older veterans who are ready and prepared to play, right? Yeah. Heavy, man. Guys like Keeley, etc. So LT Overton, him being out, could it hurt? Yeah. Right? Is it tough to replace him? Hell yeah. Bitch, yeah. But at the end of the day, you hear me? That's why you bring in talent. You recruit talent, more and more talent to continue to bring in for moments and situations like this. Yeah. I'm going to get into the article in a minute. But at the end of the day, next man up mentality, play your role, play your position, and play it well. Heavy. You hear me? Let's dive into the article real quick. You know, it's about the trenches, baby. The trenches, period. You hear me? Yeah. Why is LT Overton out of Alabama's SEC championship matchup with Georgia? Alabama football will be without one of its top defensive linemen on Saturday when it faces Georgia in the SEC championship game. When the SEC revealed its initial availability report for the game Wednesday night, LT Overton was listed as out. On Thursday, Kalen DeBoer provided an update on Overton's status. Yeah. We do have 2 players that have illnesses, medical issues, whatever you want to call it, DeBoer said. LT Overton and Kelby Collins, they won't be available for this game. Now you wonder what type of illness or medical issues are going on. Prayers up to them. Hopefully they're okay and they recover quickly and swiftly. But that's not really explaining to like 100% what's going on, what the problem is. He's kind of like pushing it under the rug or not telling the full story, in which I get it, I dig it. He really doesn't have to. And if you want to keep it in house, keep it in house then. You hear me? Heavy. Bottom line, period. Interesting, though. Very interesting, huh? Yeah. Collins was newly revealed to be out on Thursday. He was not listed on Wednesday's report. Hold on. DeBoer did not directly answer whether he expected Overton and Collins to return in the future. I'm just trying to get through these next couple days here and kind of see. DeBoer said, obviously, Kelby's just popped up here too. LT's yesterday. So just trying to get through the weekend and kind of see where that's at. We'll understand more details when that time comes. So it's really like, oh man, damn, what's going on here? Dude said when will they return, or if they will ever return, right? So what's really the deal, huh? Yeah. You gotta ask yourself with those words being said, right? You hear me? Like he talking about if they will ever return. So what type of illness may this be? What type of medical issue may this be? So once again, prayers up to Overton and Collins, baby. You hear me? Pray for them a quick and swift, healthy recovery. 110%. Matter of fact, 1000%. You hear me? Heavy. Overton practiced with the Crimson Tide on Tuesday, speaking to reporters in Tuscaloosa afterward. He did not appear to be dealing with any sort of injury at that time, and was not wearing a black jersey, which would have signified he was a non-contact participant in practice. The senior has been a key member of the defensive line this season. He has collected 35 tackles throughout the season, including 4 sacks, which is tied for the team lead. Hmm. Kirby Smart spoke about the challenge of facing the Tide without Overton on Thursday. For us, it'll just be next man up, Smart said. That's what you do as coaches. You try to prepare for who's going to be there. Again, it's not something that we know how they're going to change things because he's not there. They've got other good players. They got depth just like we do. Without Overton, Alabama will rely more heavily on the likes of Jordan Renaud, Keon Keeley, and Yanze Pierre, which are all very talented players. Heavy, dog. You hear me? No cap. And don't forget, Rousseau is back. Keon Kelly, speed demon, speed guy. Yanze Pierre been balling all season, right? Out of control. Brings you a different element at the edge rusher position. Jordan Renaud, younger guy, it's time for him to step up, step in. You dig me, you get my drift. So Bama got talent, no cap. You know? Huh? Yeah. All these guys can step up and will step up and play their role and play it well. I truly believe that, right? Right. Yeah. You hear? You know. If the Crimson Tide wins the SEC championship on Saturday, it will certainly be in the field for the college football playoff, though there's a solid chance it could make the bracket anyway, which they should and will. Alabama beat Georgia earlier this season, but the Bulldogs have not lost since and enter Saturday's matchup as the number 3 team in the nation. Alabama and Georgia are scheduled to kick off at 3 p.m. Central Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The game will be aired on ABC. And there you have it. So LT Overton, as of right now, is out due to a medical issue. Like I said, I hope it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's something he bounces back from, him and Collins, right? Right. But the board really didn't open up about the real situation, huh? Heavy. Yeah, you hear me. So we shall see. Time will tell, dog. But at the end of the day, like I say, it's time for other players to step up. That's why they there. That's why they came to Bama. That's why they in that position, right? You hear me? To step up and play well under the big lights, bright lights. One of the biggest atmospheres in college football. You hear me? So you better be turned up and ready to rock and roll, period, dog. I repeat, they better be turned up and ready to rock and roll. You know what it is. Big skull here, man. Fire them comments up. Let me know how you feel about the video. Yeah. Roll Tide full of pride, bro. You already know what it is. Zone in, lock in. You hear me? Yeah. Here we come.